Okay.
Welcome to 24/7 Flat Earth server.
I'm familiar with the server. I've been here before.
Okay,
I'm familiar.
welcome back.
So,
So, um, how did you come to Flat Earth
uh,
knowledge? How did you
I
find out about it?
I've been debating flat Earth for a while, but I'm also a physics
Yeah.
student, so I'm pretty much familiar with a lot of the flat Earth beliefs, talking points.
Oh,
I guess theories. I'm familiar with most of it. I wouldn't say all of it. I'm not gonna sit and pretend I know all of it, but I know enough to get by. You feel me?
oh, really?
Uh, yeah,
Well, you said you are familiar with many of our beliefs. So,
just a
what
little,
do you?
just a little some.
Yeah, what do you think we believe actually?
Well, I think you guys believe that we are on a flat disk, that there's either one or several explanations explaining why it appears to be a globe, such as ice sheets or the firmament or any other theory that I have yet see to be demonstrated to me, like efficiently. So that's where I think you guys believe. But if you don't think that's accurate, it's probably best if you just tell me what you believe and we can go from there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, um, there is a problem with belief. Uh, if you need to believe something, then that thing cannot have factual, empirical evidence and stuff like that.
I'm
And only
sorry.
then something requires belief.
I'm sorry. Give me
Uh,
one
yeah.
second. There's two other people who actually want to be involved with this. They're named Dr. Davinsky and Nick the Prick. They're about to be checked in.
Okay.
So I don't want you to have to repeat yourself. I'd rather wait for them to get in
Oh,
here too so we can all hear it together. Just for the sake of
all
like,
right.
keeping things
Okay.
efficient.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were the one interested.
Wait, I recognize your picture. Have we talked before?
I think we did.
In Ron server, right?
Um, no, in this server, but I remember I spoke a couple of days ago with a physics student.
Ah, that must have been me then. Hey, what's up? I remember you.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
hey,
We've talked quite
you
some things.
you
Yeah.
respected my beliefs. So I mean, I may not agree with you, but you at least respected me enough to give me like respect to talk to you. So I'll give you that.
Yes, of course, I respect your beliefs, but you see, what we do here is we move away from belief systems and we stick with facts, measurements, observations, you know,
Yeah. I mean,
empirical evidence
I feel the same
and
way with like
science.
what I do. I feel the same way
Yeah,
I do with like my science. You know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So if, for example, you say, hey, I can have gas pressure next to a vacuum
Okay.
uh, against
Hold
the
on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on,
definition.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Wait until the other guys get here
Yeah, yeah, let's
because
see.
they
So
want.
I'm verified now. Nick will be verified in a couple minutes, and then we can go. I'm looking forward to this.
Great.
Dr. Davinsky.
My doctorate is not really relevant in this field.
Oh yeah. Okay, the other side, guy said he was the a physics student, so I was wondering if you're a
I'm
physics
just a student.
professor or anything, or have a doctorate.
So Umar's the one was going to come here with the hard hitting science, you know,
And the maths.
whereas I'm just going to come here and uh, listen to, I guess, any of the fallacies that people put forth, if there are any.
But do you want to be the
Debate.
person that?
Oh,
Do you want to be the person that calls out the fallacies? I can demonstrate the math and stuff. You can call the fallacies out if you'd like.
Yeah, that's what I think I'll be best at.
And then I think Nick can debunk like the conspiracy stuff if we're gonna
Yeah,
tackle it at that angle. So
but
okay, I think we got a good plan. Yeah.
so is it free versus free, or who's debating the other side?
I think it's just us versus like the rest of them. To be honest, I guess anybody that wants to join.
Who's the most I guess who's the most notorious debater for the flat Earth side? Who's the one
think
that's like
it's-
the final boss?
Quantum Eraser, but he's not here, I think, right now. I'm Get Big to Get. I am a flat earther. I know a lot of all the flat earth arguments and techniques. So yeah,
It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
we can talk about a lot of things.
We should get
And I
Xavier.
warn you, you
Yeah,
should
I
be
wish
prepared.
I wish we had Xavier here too.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to shout this group out to my Instagram and try to get some people to come and watch. Just give me. Where's the invite link?
Sure, okay.
God, this is gonna be great.
Yeah, I'm looking. I've always wanted to hear Umar debate flat Earth because he has got some expertise in this field.
Let's do this.
Okay, so can I start?
Cavendish experiment.
Usually, when we get new people coming in our server here, we ask them 3 questions, which are not a contest, they are not a IQ test. It's simply to verify the individual's knowledge on the subject matter. So,
Yeah.
So, would you like to go through these 3 questions? If you don't know the answer to any of them, just say, I don't know, and we move forward, and that's it. Okay?
Let's do this.
Okay, so first question. Do you know who in mankind's history proved that the Earth is a sphere, and by which method?
You lagged out the last second.
Sorry?
Yeah, you lagged out.
I think he said by which method.
Yeah, by which method?
I do know one method was Aristotle. I do know Aristotle. He had 2 distinct methods. It was the one where he used the direction of the shadow in the ground to determine like the Earth's circumference, and then he also used the ship going over the horizon in order to determine that the Earth was a curvature object. He used those 2 experiments to determine that the Earth was a sphere.
Well, and what will the doctor say? Answer.
What do you mean? What would the
your
doctor say?
answer?
Oh, he's talking
Dr.
about me.
Bavinsky?
Oh, go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry.
I
Yeah,
will
what
just.
will be your answer? Yeah.
I can't answer that honestly.
Can you
Well,
explain why?
one method of telling the Earth was flat, from what I've seen, is there was like a stick experiment that they used in the Middle East, and they showed with the shadows, something to do with the shadows, and over time they saw, something like that. I don't know. Umar can probably elaborate on that one.
That's the first one I gave.
You mean the method which they claim that the Earth is a ball, not flat?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, because okay, because you said flat. So
Mic check,
I have
mic
to-
check, mic check.
I hear you, Elijah. You're good. Welcome.
Hey guys, I was everything all good.
We're doing
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
How you doing?
I was going through the 3 points with them. I just asked them the first question, and they said their answer was that Aristotle actually put a stick on the ground. He measured the length of the shadow and probably angles. And a second method was looking at ships going over the horizon. Yeah. So, would you like to take it over
No,
from here?
no. Please
Elijah?
continue.
Okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
No problem. I wish you can participate and yeah, help out because yeah, they are three and yeah.
Do you want to ask Nick the
Okay.
Prick for his answer too? Because Nick the Prick is participating in our discussion as well.
What's up?
He asked, how do you know who proved the experiment to show the Earth was a sphere? Do you know about that experiment, Nick?
No, I'm not like that informed on like who and what, but I just find it interesting, you know.
Okay.
Well, me and
Good.
Davinsky
Good.
gave so.
Yeah. So nice. I appreciate all you three guys' honest answer. I appreciate that's it's nothing shame. It's not a contest, so don't worry. The correct answer is actually in ancient Greek, Eratosthenes, and indeed, one story says that he looked in a well, and in the city of Alexandria and in the city of Syene, one of his friends put a stick in the ground and measured the length of the shadow and the angles. And they were assuming that they are actually measuring a curved surface already. Anyway, let's move to the second question. So the second question is, do you know which man and by which method proved that the Earth, the world, is spinning around its axis?
On its axis?
Yeah, around its own axis.
That I actually don't know.
I don't know
And
either.
the other? Okay. All of you three don't know?
Oh wait, you said on the axis? Oh, that it's spinning. Oh, I'm sorry. It was Copernicus. Copernicus is the one that did that. My bad. Copernicus.
Okay, Copernicus. Okay.
Yeah.
How did he do
It's
it?
Copernicus. He proved it by he proved the heliocentric model, and he proved that objects that are more massive than the Earth literally would have to follow an inertial reference frame, meaning the most massive object gives out the most gravitational constant, and that the thing that gives out the most gravitational constant would literally be the center of like the mass for whatever's being in that inertial reference frame. So essentially, the most massive objects will tend to have things rotate around it because it tends to dictate how the inertial reference frame is going to behave. That is what he
So
proved.
is this
That's pretty much a story. And how did he
this
prove
is
it?
Newtonian mechanics already now?
Mm-hmm. And do I have
And
to get into the Cavendish experiment to prove
no. Wasn't Copernicus? Didn't he live before Newton? Or
Sure, but it's evident. It's evident that like there are many scientists or people who did theoretical sciences that like were later proved by like experts that weren't
so
necessarily born at the same time.
he
Like the
knew?
Aristotle experiment.
That's
I'm sorry. Go
that's
ahead.
not how science and experiment works, though. You know that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Are you
And
sure?
and 1 second, Mr.
Yeah.
Bach.
Hold on.
The
Hold
last the
on.
last time you were here, you ran away, right? Remember?
Mhm.
You ran
Yeah.
away, right?
Need to get angry and
No, I'm not
Yes. There's no
angry.
need to get in.
I'm
Okay.
not,
There's
I'm
no
not
need to
getting
be
angry.
confrontational.
Can I
Let's
just
continue discussing, please.
Yeah.
One
just
Get
can I
confrontational
just make
about
one
last time.
point? One point. As one of Umar's caregivers, he doesn't like the term boy, so just don't refer to him as a boy. Thank you.
Right.
Caregiver.
Okay.
Caregiver. Okay, Davinsky.
Yeah, that was the whole issue, right? You were kind of fragile, and when people were
Well, no.
talking
Could
to
I
you,
explain?
you were
Could I explain? Could I explain as to why I got
Let me-
upset? There is an actual reason why. There's a historical context of that word being used. I don't know where you're from, but I'm from America, and in my country, that word was used to tell like a lot of black men who were in
we don't
positions of
care,
like.
right? I
Well,
don't
can I?
care.
Well, I respected your position. Could you at least hear mine out though, so we can actually
So
like as to
so
tell
we're
why?
not
Because I'm not
here.
like fragile. Can I
Yeah.
just finish my
Wait.
spot, please? You came in interrupting us, and we were in the middle of a discussion. So I was actually in the middle of talking. You rudely came in and interrupted us. Please do not do that.
Okay, I can
I
see.
will very
Well,
respectful.
he has the right. He has the right to do that because he's a moderator in here, and he has to make sure that yeah, we will be civil in here and
Yeah,
all
I
that.
don't-
So,
But he's making it
Okay.
uncivil.
He's making it uncivil. He's actively doing that.
I'm about to start muting everybody because I don't feel 100%, and I don't really care for that. First of all,
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
you asked me if I was sure, and I was going to respond with, yes, I'm sure. What do you mean, am I
Okay.
sure? Do we have to go through what an
Yeah.
experiment is and what
Well,
all
no,
of its
because
fundamental parts are?
we don't
Why
have
are you
to because I'm a physics.
why are you interrupting me? Because
Because
if you're gonna say something and I'm gonna say something and we're quote unquote debating, then we're gonna have to do more than say things. We're gonna have to then support what we're saying. So just because you say it with bravado, because you say you're a physics student, doesn't mean that you're gonna follow your teachings to the letter.
Sure. So would you like me to demonstrate my teachings?
No, I don't care about that. I only care
So you're
about whether or not, listen, I only care about whether or not what you're calling an experiment is actually a viable experiment and not pseudoscience.
I assure you the Cavendish experiment is not pseudoscience, and I can demonstrate it and reproduce its experimental
Wait,
results.
But
we
if
will
it's
get
if it's like
everybody else
accepted
to
by the
the
scientific
Everybody else,
community, isn't it by definition not pseudoscience?
everybody else, just if he has something to say about it, let him say it so that I can respond.
No, Davinsky is the one that's adding on. He's adding on to what I'm saying too, because
By
Davinsky does make a good
definition,
point.
by definition, if it's accepted by the scientific community, then it's not pseudoscience, right?
No, that's not true.
And well, your
That's
definition
incorrect.
doesn't really.
That's incorrect.
Pseudoscience definition. We can look this up.
Go look it
Exactly.
up.
Go ahead. But the point is,
We can all
if
the
you
order.
tell me the Cavendish experiment, blah blah blah, I'm gonna say, okay, well, in order to have an experiment, you first need a hypothesis that's built on a supposition of why you think a phenomena in reality is actually happening. So then, in the Cavendish experiment, obviously following a hypothesis, I would want to know what your independent variable is.
What my independent variable is in the Cavendish experiment. Wouldn't the independent variable be the constant of G?
What?
The independent variable would be the constant of G, because G as a constant doesn't change.
G is a constant,
That's
doesn't
not
change.
true.
Okay.
Is G not equal to 9.8 meters per second squared, my friend? That is
No.
not true on Earth. Are you sure?
Well,
Yeah.
we live on either an ellipsoid or an oblate spheroid. It can't be constant. You know that, right? It would
I
only
didn't
be
say the shape
constant
was
on a.
constant. I said G was
It
constant.
would only be constant on a perfect sphere. So no, it's not constant.
I didn't say the shape was constant. I said G was constant, which you can measure and identify.
G can't be constant because the shape isn't perfectly a sphere. Is what I'm
Yeah,
trying to tell you.
maybe to like a thousandth of a percentile. But if you're looking at it at like a large scale, it's almost always certainly going to be 9.8 meters per second squared, like at any given point, except for like
No,
different
sorry.
parts on the planet.
No,
You
sorry.
sure about that? Are you sure
Yes,
about
I'm
that? Can you
sure about
demonstrate
that.
that? Can you
Yeah.
demonstrate that,
Well,
sir?
it's not my claim. First of all, things don't drop 9.8 meters per second
It
squared.
actually is, because
Hold
I
on. Look,
demonstrated my proof of the Cavendish experiment.
can you stop? Can you stop? You just said things drop 9.8 meters per second squared. Well, I just dropped my tissue into my toilet bowl. Definitely didn't
Yeah.
drop 9.8 meters per second.
Oh, it certainly did. It might have a lot more surface area to slow it down and make it appear that it's going less than 9.8 meters per second, but the gravitational constant itself is still 9.8 meters per second. I can assure you of
So,
that. We
so do you
utilize
want
this,
to
we
know?
know this using the Cavendish experiment.
So do you want to know why that's a begging the question fallacy?
How is that the begging the question fallacy? I know what I know what that fallacy is, but I want to hear what the definition is from you. What does that mean?
I'm not. I'm gonna give
What's
you
the
an
definition?
example if I can go ahead and find it.
Can we just define it? Assume I'm stupid and I don't know what it means. What is define what begging the question fallacy means? Define
When
it.
you assume when you assume your conclusion is baked into your process.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how have I done that?
So
Demonstrate how I've done that.
you just said that G was a constant, and then I just dropped my tissue, and then you gave
Mhm.
me a reason as to why it didn't do that, and you said it's still
Theory.
doing that. However, the result is different only because of X, Y, Z. That's how you did
Right,
it.
because surface area can also
Now, if I can find the example I was looking for with Einstein, actually, it's a perfect example of how people use begging the question all the time. But you're going to have to be patient if you really want to have this conversation and be honest in this conversation, and have it be fruitful for everyone, including yourself.
But
Okay,
Elijah,
okay. I just don't want it to, like, like, I feel like when I debate a lot of flat earthers, they do this thing where they tend to gish gallop a lot, and then they tend to not answer my point, and I'll have to ask the question over and over.
Well,
and
I
over
haven't
again.
gish galloped at all, and the
Okay.
only thing you've done is given a begging the
Well,
question
let's
fallacy.
not
So,
focus on what I've done. Let's just get to the example you have.
but can I just point one thing out? Elijah asked you for the independent variable, and you named a constant. You're supposed to vary and manipulate that independent variable. How are you going to do that with a constant?
You can't. But wait, isn't the independent variable the independent variable is the one that doesn't change? The independent variable is what
No.
affects the dependent variable.
The independent variable is the one the researcher is supposed to vary and manipulate.
Independent variable.
Yeah, the independent variable.
Can I just say one thing
A
on the
variable
topic
that
of
stands alone.
pseudoscience?
Yeah, it says answer. An independent variable is exactly what it sounds like. A variable that stands alone and isn't changed by other variables you are trying to measure. That's exactly what I said.
Wait, let Davinsky speak.
Variable.
So this is from the APA, which is the writing standards that, like, basically you have to write to if you're an academic. Pseudoscience, a system of theories and methods that has some resemblance to a genuine science but cannot be considered as such. Examples include astrology, numerology, etc. Various criteria for distinguishing pseudoscience from true science has been proposed, the most influential being falsifiability. And if you look at falsifiability, that's basically, can this be so falsifiability, the condition of admitting falsification, the logical possibility that an assertion, hypothesis, or theory can be shown to be false by an observation or experiment. So what Umar said earlier, I'm sure that could be proven to be false if it was false, could it not? So it wouldn't be pseudoscience.
no, because first it would have to be a viable experiment, which would make it viable science. But anyway,
But
so
if it wasn't viable,
I'm
like, it
almost
could be
done. I'm almost
falsified.
done. You don't have to talk over me. I don't want to start muting people. I can't really speak all that loud. So the independent variable IV is the characteristic of a psychology experiment that is manipulated or changed by research, right?
I just looked it up though. It literally said the definition of it is literally that the scientist does not manipulate that variable. I'm literally looking at the definition right now.
So why don't you just go ahead and post your source?
Yeah,
then?
where are you
Sure. Can I
reading
get
that
pig perm?
from?
Can I get pig perms, please?
Can I get in here?
DM it just post it for you.
There seems to be a
Sure.
misunderstanding with an independent variable, because what you read as a definition, I feel like you've actually misunderstood it. So when you said that it's a variable that isn't changed by the other variables, that's not what the other guy said. He said that it's a variable that's varied by the researcher. And
So how do you change G? How do you
I
change
didn't
G as a constant?
didn't
But how can you change G as a constant if, like, the
You
G
don't.
is
That's why
exerted
it's
by the Earth?
pseudoscience. You don't.
That's
It's
That's
not.
exactly why.
Gravity is
wasn't finished.
pseudoscience.
He wasn't finished.
Okay, so I'm going to say what I said from the start, and you're not going to interrupt. Hopefully, you'll understand. The problem is that you are conflating the researcher's effect on the variable with the other variable's effect on the variable, right? So what he said is that the researcher has to vary and manipulate the independent variable and then observe a change in the dependent variable. And you
So how
then
do you
said, that the other variables don't have an effect on the independent variable, which has nothing to do with what he said. So you need
Great.
to
So how do
actually
you change? So this is what you're not failing to understand. How do you
Wait,
change G
he's
as a
not
constant?
finished. He's not
How do you
finished.
change G as a constant though if it's literally
So you need to understand that you've strawmanned him, and then you can start to approach it. Otherwise, this is a waste of everyone's time.
So how did I strawman him when you can't change G as a constant? Can you demonstrate how to change
That's
G as a
the.
constant?
That's
How do you change it?
that's the
Stop!
problem.
Wait! How do you change G as a constant unless you can only change that by going on a different planet? Explain that.
You asked me a question, right? I'm now going to
Yes,
answer that
answer it.
question.
It was in a
How
rhetorical,
have
though. He was still saying stuff.
How have you
Oh,
strawmanned him? Well, actually, if you were listening to the previous sentence, I actually explained the strawman in the sentence, which tells me you're not listening.
Second of all, yeah, I muted him because if you want to continue to have privileges to speak here, you're going to relax, right? Because first of all, I'm the only guy not talking to you like that. I realize that you have an environment when you're at school and it gets like that. I know my young stepson gets like that too. It's okay, but you're definitely going to need to calm down. So first of all, how'd you straw man? Well, you're asking me how a constant would be manipulated, the G would be manipulated. Well, I told you that that's not possible. That's why it's not actually a viable experiment because there's no viable hypothesis. Why would you be asking me that question when I told you in the offset that that's not possible?
So again, you haven't demonstrated how I asked him a straw man. When he asked me for a specific question, I proved the experiment is real because you can reproduce this experiment. If this experiment was bullshit, we wouldn't even be able to reproduce it and get the same results. So you need to demonstrate how me getting the same results by reproducing this experiment makes it a false experiment. Can you demonstrate how that's possible?
Would you like me to explain the straw man again, or do you want to just accept that it was a straw
Would you like to answer my goddamn question, please?
Oh, calm down, dude. Relax.
You've asked the question twice, and I've given an answer twice, and I don't feel like you've understood the answer either time.
Look, also, we don't need like, listen, I'm gonna moderate the kid, okay? So whenever he's done talking, I'm just gonna mute him so the other side can say what they have to say without everyone screaming and making this unlistenable, because this could be a teachable moment. Please continue. Note that you're gonna stay on mute until it's your time to speak. Everybody else doesn't have to have that leash because they're being reasonable. I applaud the rest of you for being reasonable, even though I've muted your friend. I'm not censuring him. I asked him a few times to relax, and I can understand where he's coming from. That's fine. But when other people are speaking, he's going to have to remain on mute. So,
Can I ask his two friends, because it seems like he's got two friends. Can I ask if they understood the point I was making? The Aussie
David?
guy?
I'm
Davinsky?
I'm just listening in. Umar's the one with the science, so he's the expert.
Yeah,
Actually, my
but he
point
isn't.
was a logical point, scientific point. So you understand that there's a difference between a researcher manipulating a variable and the variable being manipulated by another variable, right? Yes? No? Anything?
Are you asking me or Umar?
I'm asking you.
Could you repeat that one last time?
Okay. Do you understand that there's a difference between a researcher manipulating a variable and a variable being changed by another variable?
And you're saying that Umar's claim is that a researcher manipulated it.
No. So this was the straw man. This was the thing that got him in trouble before we could even continue the topic, right? So another guy said, well, your independent variable needs to be manipulated by the researcher. And then your friend said, oh, but I've got a definition here that says that the variable isn't changed by another variable, which has nothing to do with the original point, and then got him kind of hot and bothered and a bit shouty, right? So the problem is that he hasn't understood that he's actually strawmanned someone unintentionally, which has then caused all of the problems that followed.
I think
Right.
that Umar needs to rebuttal this.
There's no rebuttal. This objectively happened, right? So the problem is that if he understands that this happened, then we can move on. But if he doesn't understand that there's a difference between what the original person said and what he claimed that person said, there is no progress.
Well, what does Umar have to say about that?
Okay.
Well, let's see. Okay.
After you get done with that, I want to answer something with Dr. Davinsky. Would you read something from, I don't know where, your source for the pseudoscience? After that, I want to get to that part.
Okay, sure.
So I'd like to make it clear for everybody. I'm not mad. I just get a little bombastic or my voice gets louder because I am in the work truck. But I am not trying to yell or scream at anybody. If anybody feels threatened by what I'm saying, don't take it that way. That's just how I am when I discuss stuff. But yeah, I did
Yeah,
feel like
I
I
already
answered you.
understood that, brother. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so as I was saying, I feel like I did answer the question like satisfactory, but fine. If you'd like, he can re-ask me the question and I can directly answer in front of everyone so that he feels like I've given him a satisfactory answer. So please ask your question to me again and I'll answer it. I'll try to answer it in a direct and like specific way to you.
So I'll ask again. Do you understand that there is a difference between a researcher manipulating an independent variable and the variable being changed by another variable?
Correct. But where has where can you demonstrate where that independent variable has been manipulated by the researcher? Can you show me that, please?
No, but this isn't my claim. The point I'm
Like,
making
that's what I'm
is
saying.
that the other person was defining independent variable in that way, right? And then you said, no, it doesn't change based on other variables, which wasn't what he said.
Okay,
What
guys,
is
you guys are arguing about semantics
I
at this.
feel like we're getting hung
No,
up on
this
semantics. I want to know your position. I just want to know your position. What is your position?
my position is that you misunderstood his statement, right?
That's not what we're arguing about. Though we're arguing about if the Earth is flat or
If
not.
you
We're not
don't
arguing if I'm
understand
in a
his
position.
statement, then you can't look. If you don't
How about
understand
we?
his
Okay,
statement, then you can't make a logical rebuttal. Obviously,
So here's what happened, and here's the problem. So I said it wasn't an actual experiment. You asked me if I'm sure about that, and I said, okay, well, what's the independent variable? You said the constant big G, and then yada yada yada. Then you tried to ask me how would that possibly be manipulated? Ah, therein lies the problem with your assertion.
okay. So my assertion is, can you demonstrate like how the researcher is manipulating G? Can you
Well,
show
that's
me
the
how that?
thing. It was your
Well,
claim that it was a scientific
I'm just
experiment.
okay, but I'm
Listen,
just
listen,
asking
listen.
you.
It was your claim that it was a scientific experiment. It is not following the scientific method. Therefore, it's not a science experiment, and that's what we said
Okay,
is pseudoscience.
okay.
Now
Can you
that
show me how it's not following it?
listen.
I'm curious. I'm just
I'm about
asking
to.
though.
I'm about to.
Okay,
You
go ahead.
said you're asking us about where is the independent variable manipulated. It's not one of them. First of all, and the definition of pseudoscience, right? It's something that is claimed to be pseudoscience, but it's not, right? So let me read you
That
something
did not
from
answer my
let
question.
me read you something from MSU. Pseudoscience is as the name implies, something that is claimed to be scientific, but it's not. The modern world is loaded with pseudoscience. You can learn to detect it because it has properties that you can compare to the real scientific method. Pseudoscience, on the other hand, ignores one or more of these steps. The true scientific method is not followed, although the pseudoscience is littered with scientific sounding terminology. It is the
Hmm.
method that counts, and that where it
Okay,
fails. So if it
so
doesn't follow
great.
the
So I know
scientific
what
method, that
I
is
know.
called pseudoscience.
So can you show me where it doesn't follow the scientific method, please? I know what the
And the
definition of
question
pseudoscience is.
was,
Well,
that's why
I'm
Elijah
not.
asked you.
I'm
That's why.
not asking you. I'm not asking you what the definition is. Just straight out of
Right
pseudoscience.
now, listen.
Right.
This is the thing.
Okay,
First,
here's
go
why.
ahead,
Here's
Elijah.
why it's pseudoscience. It doesn't have a viable
Thank
hypothesis.
you. Okay, how? How does it not have a viable hypothesis? Now we're getting somewhere. How?
Well. Tell me what the viable hypothesis is,
No, you need to tell me how it's not a viable hypothesis. The hypothesis is
because
to find the
there's no
constant.
viable hypothesis.
The hypothesis is to find the specific value of G. We've already established that G is a constant. We just needed to find the exact measurement or value of G. That is what the
That's
hypothesis
not a
of the experiment
hypothesis.
was.
to
So
demonstrate
How?
it's true, you have
Hold on.
to
First of all,
prove.
get.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's already me, crypto. I mean, we're gonna have to either switch out or
Hey, go ahead. Go ahead. Go
come
ahead.
on.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah,
So first of all,
ask him the title,
Roger,
Elijah.
come on,
Yeah, I just want
Roger,
one question. One question.
Mhm.
Ask him
Roger.
the title of Cavendish. That's the only thing you need to ask.
Okay, afterwards. Before we even get into all that, listen. First of all, science is quantitative, not qualitative. You're trying to find the qualitative, not quantitative. You're trying to find the quantity of something, so that's another problem. But second of all, what you said wasn't a hypothesis. Now, would you like to look up what a hypothesis is from various sources,
No, assume I
or
know the
would you?
definition is student for about 5 years. Let's assume I know the definition, please.
Well, I can't assume that
Give
because
it.
you didn't demonstrate that you
So,
know it.
but I did because I actually gave what the hypothesis
Give
of the
it,
experiment
Mr.
was.
So
Bach.
now,
Give the
Sure.
so
definition.
now, hold on. So I muted you. So check this out. Remember, I said you're going to be saying things as if you're right. I'm going to be saying things as if I'm right. I don't know. I wonder if your friends think that we should both be giving notes and citations to support what we think we're saying is true. So you're going to have to validate what you're saying, not only by citation, but by example as well. We're also willing to do that. If you're not willing to do that, you're willing to, and you're trying to use bravado to win versus demonstrate how you're correct, well, you're not going to win here.
Secret like fourth person? Is there like a secret like fourth person who's like on our side debating? Like I don't know who you're talking to, but he asked me a question, and then as I went to answer it, you muted me. Why was that?
No, I muted you because I didn't want you to answer that
Well, he
question.
asked
Why
me.
I didn't want him. Roger, you see why I tried to stop you? Look at
It's
this
okay.
now.
Yeah, go
Look,
ahead.
look, look. What,
Can we have like a
but now, but
1v1?
now he's focused on what you said.
It's all right. Go ahead.
You
I
are
want
kind
to.
of piling up on
Whose question?
Uvar and like bombarding him
Yeah,
with a lot of
like
questions.
We don't need that,
But
Davinsky. We don't need that.
Yeah,
Roger, go ahead.
not
I'm
really
if
fair. And
he
then you
if
guys
he
blame him
We
for
don't
focuses
need
getting
that,
on
upset.
Nick. Nick, we didn't need
if he
that.
focus if he focuses on me, right? I only told him how he doesn't have a valid experiment because there's no viable hypothesis. He's not challenging it by ask. I told him how his nuh is not good enough. I said, okay,
How
well,
is this a
fine.
fair combo if you keep muting
If you
him?
think because he keeps talking after. Look, as soon as he's unmuted now, is he going to respond to what I just said? No.
trying
He looks
to. I'm
muted.
trying
Now
to.
he's not
I'm
muted.
trying. I'm trying to respond. So, which do you want me to answer? Because I was asking multiple questions and I was asking multiple things, and I tried to respond to multiple things, then got
You
muted.
should only be
So, what was
responding
your?
to one thing.
Well, maybe everybody should be on mute if like it's a one-on-one conversation, don't you think?
Well, that's what I tried. I mean, well, hey, what do
So
you want
why
to
am
do?
I being muted? Why am I being
Only
muted?
mutes
You're
us.
asking.
Muted me.
Because this is my house. Any more
Okay, hey,
questions?
your house, hey, your house, your rules, Big Papa. Hey, all right. So really
Okay,
quick,
but you
I
don't have
haven't.
to focus on everybody else. I mean,
I'm trying to respond
you
to your
hear me
answer.
trying to get you hear
I'm
me
trying
trying
to
to get
respond to your
everybody else
answer,
under
sir.
control.
I'm trying to
What was
respond to your
what
answer. You
answer
keep
was
cutting me
that?
off. You were
What answer
asking me
was
how
that?
I can you just like let me talk, please? You keep cutting me off. You seem to do that a lot. But my thing is, I want to respond to you saying it's not a viable hypothesis. So I'm not satisfied with your answer. You have just gish galloped and rambled on. You haven't demonstrated how it's not a viable hypothesis. So I'll ask you again, and I'll ask slowly this time. How is it not a reasonable hypothesis if it can be reproduced and repeated over and over again and get the same results? Please explain how that's possible if it's not a viable hypothesis.
Because a hypothesis is a supposition as to what causes a natural phenomena.
What does a supposition mean? Because I feel like you
What
don't know
you
what these words mean.
you want me to tell you? It's what you
Yeah, because I
think
don't think you know what it means.
is what you think is the cause of what you're looking at in nature, a phenomenon.
And we see that in nature, things constantly fall down and they have a gravitational constant. And that is what we were determining in the Cavendish experiment, correct?
Begging
No.
the question.
That's not begging the question that the experiment's been proven true.
It is begging the question.
I guess. You can feel that way. You can keep coping that way, but it's not.
Well, it is begging the question. I don't look at something and see that it's a gravity well because of a constant and blah blah. No.
But that's literally what science is. Science is literally observing something and then trying to explain that phenomenon.
Man, what you see is falling down.
Sasha.
Sasha, please.
Sorry.
Yeah, I thought this was a 1v1 conversation.
Sorry, guys.
We're trying to mute everybody, Mr. Ba. You keep complaining.
I'm not
Answer
complaining.
Elijah's
I've been on mute.
question.
I've been
Yeah,
complaining. I'm not.
you're being very fragile again. Come on. This is between you and Elijah. Answer the question. Then we can move forward, right? All you did is complain.
Complain if I'm on mute. How can I complain if I'm on mute? How
So
can I complain
answer Elijah's question. You're doing it again.
But how can I complain if
You
I'm
don't.
on mute, sir?
So what was the hypothesis of Cavendish?
The hypothesis of Cavendish was literally to determine what the gravitational accelerant was, what the gravitational constant accelerant was, and we determined with that experiment that it is 9.8 meters per second.
That was not his hypothesis.
You want to go over the experiment together, sir? Yeah, the Cavendish experiment is a clever way to measure. I'm reading it right now. The Cavendish experiment is a clever way to measure the gravitational constant that is stated in the universal gravitational equation. This experiment used a torsion balance device to track lead balls together, measuring the torque on a wire and equating it to the gravitational force between the balls. So yeah, it is absolutely an empirical science.
So Mr. Bach, listen, what was the title of the paper from Cavendish? Can you tell me?
What was I don't think that matters. All that matters is that the data
so that's not what I asked. You're
asking me semantics. You're like, that doesn't, you haven't demonstrated how that's false.
That's
you haven't demonstrated how that's false.
So Mr. Ba, I asked you a question, you ran away again. What was the title?
Run away. I'm answering you, bro. I said I don't know. I said I don't know, but it's
okay. So measuring the density of Earth, right? Determining the density of Earth.
Yeah.
Mr. Ba?
What Cavendish tried.
G wasn't derived until 75 years after Cavendish was dead.
Yeah. Please take over, Indio.
They don't measure the gravitational constant; they infer it. What do you observe in the Cavendish? Explain exactly what happens in the Cavendish experiment.
The Cavendish experiment literally refers to the inertial reference frame of the two lead balls literally being strung together on a string to literally measure the tension between two lead balls.
Okay, and then what happens?
Stop, wait, I'm getting to that. You can't let me finish. Holy shit.
You're already wrong, that's why.
I'm not already wrong. I'm literally reading the process of the experiment right in front of my eyes. Google can't lie to me, my guy. Sorry, but like,
you can't? Why not?
Yeah, because why not? Because I'm literally looking at a college website of how the experiment was done. You think universities make this shit up? Like,
I already know how Cavendish is done. I already know exactly what it does.
Yeah, and I did too.
I'm asking you. You do. Then why are you reading it? Then you should just be able to tell me exactly what happened.
Because I did, and I did this in my freshman year of university. Because, like, I'm almost done with college.
Well, I think you're lying because you don't know what it does.
Oh, okay. Do you want to look at my LinkedIn resume? Because I know Davinsky has it, and he's seen I've been to university. I can't make that shit up.
But I'm saying you didn't do the experiment. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, but how do I know?
Because you don't know what happens.
If I did the experiment, but how do I know the experiment?
Why are you talking so fast, dude? You triggered, man?
What?
You triggered?
No,
he's talking fast because he needs to get a point out because you cut him off every half a second.
Because, because he doesn't know what the Cavendish experiment does. He doesn't even know it's observed.
Davinsky, look up the Cavendish experiment, read it out, and tell me if anything I said about it is wrong. I've literally given the exact value of what it found, and I'm... Yeah, sure. Here, look at the screenshot. Give me pick perms, and I'll be able to post.
Okay, listen. I'm going to ask you a question. I asked you what was observed. So when you set up the Cavendish, right?
Gravitational constant.
It's not what's observed, you clown. It's not what's observed.
Why do we know the gravitational constant is 9.8 meters per second? Then explain that.
That's not the gravitational constant, you fucking clown.
That's
the acceleration of gravity, dude. You dumbass. That's little g, you stupid fuck. That's little g, not big G. Dumb fuck.
Have you ever studied a physics class? Have you ever studied a physics class?
Yeah, I took physics 1 and 2 in university. Yeah, I did. That's little g, not big G, you dumb fuck.
And I know the calculus behind it, and what you're saying is completely stupid, because everyone knows G equals 9.8 meters per second squared, retard.
That's little G.
That's little G and big G. Little G and big G are the same exact value, moron.
Oh, they are?
You know that, right? Yes, 9.8 meters. Fucking fool.
This is going to be funny, because I'm going to post the big G value right now.
He's about to
I'm going to post the big G value.
Hey, Davinsky, what is that Cavendish experiment?
I know he is.
You got that picture I posted, right?
Yeah, when are you going to...
Yeah, I got school. That's where I already posted it. Look in general.
Bro, let's wait for big G value now.
Wait till you call him a boy. He's gonna slip out.
Wrong server. Hold on. Somebody give me.
Oh my god, this guy doesn't even know how to work Discord.
Can you give me pig perms? I need to have pig perms in order to
I
post a pic
DM'd
in
you
the lobby.
already. You can post it to my DMs. I've already
Sure.
DM'd you.
Sure. So what's this? Right here? What about this? And I also sent the one for variable too. The Cavendish experiment is a clever way to measure the gravitational constant. That's what I've been saying the whole fucking time. My God.
Yeah,
Cool.
let's
I think you guys. I think the problem. I think I
let's
found out
actually
the problem with
measure.
the flat Earth server. You guys are illiterate. Maybe that's the
Yeah,
problem.
now you got to talk about us. Now you got to talk about us.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean,
Little
you've been
chick,
doing it.
dude. Like a gossiping little chick.
You know, I'm
So
like I
I
said,
still want to know what's observed in the Cavendish experiment. What happens to the balls?
To actually have enough integrity and post that picture I sent him.
Just answer the
If he has
fucking
integrity.
question.
I answered it. It said it. I answered it. I answered it.
The
And
balls
looking at
come
the
together, then
gravitational-
what happens?
Yeah, and then what happens?
Then what
yeah,
happens?
And then what happens? You measure the tension on the string, and then you can find the gravitational
How do you measure the
constant by
tension on
measuring
the string?
You want me to give you an entire physics lesson on how to measure tension?
No, I want you to tell me how.
So,
I
how to
don't need
measure
an entire
tension? It's
physics
very
lesson.
simple.
I need an answer.
Are you sure?
I just need an answer.
Oh wait, but I'm actually trying.
I need an answer. How is tension measured on the string?
So in order to find tension measured on the string, you're going to find the potential energy of the torsion on the string, right? The torsion being like the amount of stress that's pulled on the string in order to like literally enact force on it. So that tension was literally found to be like found at 9.8 meters per second squared within the inertial reference frames of the two balls attached to that like string.
You think word salad is going to work?
9.8 meters per second squared.
Dude, he's blowing you out of the water right now.
Fucking A, man. Davinsky.
Dude, you think word salad is going to work? What's measured? What's
literally
measured?
the science behind it.
Dude, you don't even know what's measured. That's it. I'm going to keep asking you what's measured.
Oh my God.
Because then I'm going to tell you.
Davinsky, you're looking at what I'm saying in real time. What I'm saying is literally the experiment, right?
What's measured?
What I told you what's measured. How many times do I got to fucking answer?
Okay, what device did they measure that
I'm
with?
sorry, are you like
What
illiterate?
device did they measure that with? What device?
Balls and a string. Are you illiterate? Do you have
what device did they measure it with?
Amnesia? I told you the answer.
Did they measure the velocity? Did they measure the velocity?
Measured the tension on the string, buddy, in the inertial reference frame. Do you know what an inertial reference frame is? Do you know what an inertial reference frame is?
Listen,
What's an inertial reference frame? What's an inertial reference frame?
How did they measure the tension on the string? How'd they measure it?
You're getting blown the fuck out on this.
You're
No, dude, you're just
How did they measure the tension on the string? I'm just asking a simple question. You should know. You're the physics expert, so tell us, how did they, with what device did they measure the tension on the string?
With the scale.
Everyone else.
No, they didn't measure it with a scale. No, they didn't measure it with a scale. Tension on a string is inferred from the change of the angle of the ball, the velocity at which it turns, dude. And then the ball oscillates.
So how is the ball moving?
And then it oscillates. But you don't know that because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You've never done the experiment. You don't know what
the only way those balls are going to come together.
They oscillate. They don't come together. They oscillate. You know what an oscillation is?
Like referring to a frequency. I know what oscillation is, dumb fuck.
Okay, so the balls.
Oscillation refers to modulation as well.
And the balls bounce back and forth because there's tension on the string. So they bounce.
Imagine quizzing me on oscillation when I learned about acoustic. When I learned about
dude, don't break your arm patting yourself on your back. Apparently, you failed all those. You failed all those.
Dude, I literally got beat.
Again.
Did he get muted or is he just screaming? So the name of Henry Cavendish experiment was determination of the density of the Earth. Cavendish didn't derive big G. Mitchell did 75 years later after Cavendish was dead. You don't know anything about the experiment, right? There's no independent variable. Okay, you don't have an independent variable. You said Cavendish causes things. Cavendish proves that gravity causes things to fall, right? Nothing even falls in the Cavendish experiment. Cavendish is well known to being hard to set up. I can post you videos of a professional physicist. They actually went and sawed the Cavendish, scientific grade Cavendish device that wouldn't work. And then I could show you it working with Christmas balls, right? Determine cause and effect. You manipulate the independent variable and watch the effect on a dependent variable. Cavendish is not an experiment in any sense of the word.
that did not answer any of my questions. You haven't
You
demonstrated.
didn't have a question. You just
I
had
did,
word
though.
salad.
But here's the funny thing.
So let me ask you
How is
this.
it fake? Wait, no,
Let me
I
ask you
actually
this.
want to ask my question. I actually want to ask my question now. How is it that millions of people have reproduced that experiment and gotten this?
Millions of people have failed to reproduce the experiment. So what?
No. Can you demonstrate that's actually happening? Can you demonstrate millions of people have failed to reproduce?
Can you demonstrate a
Show me
million
that?
people have done the experiment?
Yes, that's why we use G as a
Oh, okay.
gravitational
So show
constant.
me.
We know
Show
it's
me the
real.
survey.
Sure.
Show me the
Yeah, let's look up.
survey.
Let's look up what Galileo did. Hold on. Let's look up what Galileo did.
Kid's spiraling. This is hilarious.
Yeah,
Amazing. Amazing.
So you made a baseless claim. I made a baseless claim, right?
Why a
Oh,
5,000
You
year
have no
old
idea.
experiment?
So you had no idea how many people have done it. Neither do I.
Oh, they tried to ban Da Vinci.
So guess what? I'm gonna ask you this. Because the only reason you're trying to prove gravity, it already works. So Newtonian
Wait, do
gravity
you think
and general
gravity's real?
relativity both work on a flat Earth, right?
Do you think gravity is real?
What do you mean real?
Is gravity real?
Things fall. Yes, things fall. Is it because we're trying to determine is gravity the cause of the effect? Which one is it?
All right, maybe I can save you. You're not too far gone on this
Save
flat
me?
Earth.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
you're a religitard.
I'm not a religious. I'm an atheist, actually. I'm an agnostic atheist.
Well, you have a religion without a deity and you don't even know it.
No, if you call science a religion,
Well, what are you
I don't
saving
think
me
you know what
for?
science is.
What are you
Science
saving?
I'm saving you from being a dumb fuck. I'm saving you from being a dumb fuck.
I know more about the experiment you cited than you, and I'm the dumb fuck.
Sure.
You don't even
that's
know what
funny.
it did. You didn't know that it oscillated. You don't know how they infer.
Okay. What is
Listen, you don't know
oscillation
how they
mean again?
infer. You don't know how they infer the force from this timing.
What does oscillation and modulation mean? Really quickly. What do those two terms mean?
On YouTube, you could have
what
looked
does
at that.
oscillation mean? What does oscillation and modulation mean? What are those
It's a
two
periodic
terms mean,
motion.
since you know?
It's a
A periodic motion. Modulation mean? Is a combination of what two waves when you're referring to acoustic waves? It's a combination of what two waves? Sine waves. It's a combination of two sine waves.
You mean Gaussian waves? Yeah, great. Fantastic. Whoopie fucking do. What's your point?
Is one sine wave affecting a frequency, while modulation is the combination of two sine waves overlapping with one another. Also known as
awesome. What's that got to do with the price?
Also known as superpositioning, buddy. So why are you saying oscillation?
Listen, superposition is also the linear combination of two vectors. Whoopie fucking do. Who cares?
Oscillation has nothing to do with
listen, Cavendish experiment. The balls oscillate. The balls oscillate in Cavendish.
I don't know why
and you don't know that because you've never done the experiment and you lied. But listen, let's get to the point. Newtonian gravity and general relativity both work on a flat Earth, and the only reason you're even fucking around with gravity because you think that particles form a sphere under Newtonian gravity, and that is That's right. That is incorrect. They've run this on simulation, and it does not form a sphere. You want to publish paper? You want that citation?
You can give me the citation, and I can give you the citation showing that the Cavendish experiment has been reproduced and actually been shown.
It shouldn't be that hard to prove that it's round.
I could reproduce it, and I can listen. You have demonstrations where it's not reproduced.
Why do you keep saying you listen? I've let you ramble on like 6 or 7 minutes now. Like you got to let me respond. It's
Dude, you listen. You're like a ferret on.
It's not fun if you're the only one.
I'm not here for your entertainment.
Well, I mean, mass attractive mass was debunked by Einstein anyway, over 100 years ago. Kid.
Exactly. It's not an experiment, number one, and you're going to have to show how this is associated with general theory of relativity, the new hotness.
So what's the definition of mass?
Wait, can you show me how mass was debunked really quickly? Can you show me how
What is mass?
No, how was mass debunked?
What is mass? Define it.
Mass is literally just mass. No, what is mass?
Hey, he got a B+ in science class in 9th grade. So like,
my connection cut off. Hold on.
Define mass.
Mass by definition. Sure, mass is literally just a quantitative measure of inertia. So it's literally describing how much of something is in something. That's all.
Quantitative No, it's not. The number of atoms.
I'm looking at the definition. Well,
it's wrong.
Encyclopedia Britannica is wrong.
That's correct.
Encyclopedia Britannica does not have science definitions.
It's
You go to
incorrect.
a physics book.
Quantitative measure of what?
I'm muted. I was muted.
Quantitative
It's
measure
yeah.
of what?
The quantitative measure of the resistance of an object. So it's literally
Of what's
describing how much
resistance of an object?
it's resisting, and it's literally dealing with inertia. Do you know what inertia is?
Oh, what's
my friend?
inertia?
Are you slow?
What's
Inertia
inertia
is
there,
just a tendency for an object. Inertia is literally just a tendency for an object to change its position or to resist change.
Wrong.
That is literally what it is.
Wrong. That's
It's
not the
literally
literal
that.
definition.
We
Incorrect.
literally wouldn't be.
Incorrect.
He's slapping his keyboard.
Incorrect.
He's
Let
a
me show you,
spaz.
numpty dipshit. Are you in voice text?
Keyboard. I'm at work. I'm not on my keyboard.
Are you in the
I have a
text
job on my
chat?
computer.
Oh my
So
God,
I
you
have
are
a
motor
so
mouth.
insecure.
Motor
I have a
mouth.
job
Are
on
you
my
in
computer.
text chat? Are you in text chat? Listen closely. Are you in text chat?
I can't be
I'm
in
going to
text chat if I
debunk
keep
your
being
dumb
muted.
ass right
I
now.
can't be in text chat if I'm muted. So,
All right.
but
So,
unlike you,
yeah,
You
can.
can't
I'm gonna
see.
mute
You
you if
can't
you
see the
I'm at
voice
my
text.
job.
All right. So, from your alma mater wiki, mass is both a property of a physical body and a measure of its resistance to acceleration, a change in its state of motion when a net force is applied. Ruh-roh, Shaggy. Inertia, from your alma mater wiki, is the resistance of any physical object to any change in its velocity. That's acceleration. This includes changes to the object's speed or direction of motion. So you got a big fucking problem. What's mass and what's inertia?
So you realize mass is related to inertia, right? Like that was the stupidest
I
thing
didn't
you could
say
have
what
fucking
it's
said.
related to. What is it?
Yeah, but it is though. So like this is the thing.
It's
You
not
can't separate
that.
the concept with that.
It's not that.
You just replied as if he denied what you said. He just asked you again this question, dude. Dude, you like a fucking wind-up toy. You have canned answers, dude.
Why do you guys keep muting me? I guess.
So let me
Because
ask
you're
you.
not answering the question.
So Cavendish measured there was two bodies that you said mass attracting mass, so resistance to acceleration attracted resistance to acceleration. Is that what happened?
I'm muted. I can't answer if I'm muted, bro. I'm gonna have to stop sounding like a
We
pussy.
can all hear you. Just answer the question.
Nobody's muting you.
Okay. Yeah, somebody is actually. I can screenshot him. Yeah, he is
Don't
muted.
mute him. I'm sick of his fucking crying.
He unmutes
I'm
you
not
on
crying.
The question.
I'm not crying. Can you also unmute Dr.
No, I'm gonna
No,
mute
we're
you.
not muting your friend, dude. You guys can yell nigger or something, and yeah, like you're not doing that.
This is why I'm muting him. I'm trying to mute him whenever you guys talk, and also when he's not answering the question, because of course it's gonna have us go, "You're not answering the question," and then it's gonna spiral because he's yelling and we're yelling. I'm not doing that. But the bottom line is, QE didn't ask you what it's related to. He asked you what it is.
Oh my god. I mean, dude, I've literally given my
Feigned exasperations are not answers. So you said mass attracts mass, right? So, and then you define mass as its resistance to acceleration. Then Indio said, wow, that means the resistance to acceleration is attracted to the resistance to acceleration, which is dumb fuck muppetry.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this like has run its course. If I get muted again,
You're a dumb fuck. Go back to primary school. You have no idea with what you speak of. You're an idiot.
I gotta get my key. No, I don't. I only need the.
It sucks that the Globe guys just lose their cool whenever they just lose it. They just can't keep it together.
hard. You guys project so hard. Like you guys.
I just
Under
jumped
the
in here,
irony.
man. I jumped in and I heard you screaming, and that's it. Just chill out.
He's so fucking backwards. Cavendish never performed an experiment. He didn't have a viable scientific hypothesis. He didn't find Big G. In fact, this pseudoscience was debunked over 107 years ago by general relativity. He's 107 years old. Do you keep up with your continuing education credits? You're
They should-
107 years out of date there, Sunshine.
Yeah, it's a
He ran-
1700s experiment. It's I mean
He ran
it should-
away.
yeah, it should give you like some kind of when you keep on quoting things from like kings and queens times to be your answer for now, it should tell you something. Like it should tell you something. Man.
Well, I'm 2 for 2. I've asked 2 Globers what happened, and I've never asked them this before. I assume that they know what happens when you set it up, but they don't even know that.
Can I
They just
like
think the
add
balls
one
come
point
together
to
and
the
just
debate?
stick there, but they don't know that that's not what happens.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
they're
Dr.
going
They
off.
approach each other and then rock back. They oscillate back and forth.
School teaches you this is how we know gravity is real. This is how we. So that's what they just forget to think it through to that point. You know.
No, he claimed he did it.
Yeah.
He claimed he did the experiment. Did it. But he
did
didn't.
the Cavendish experiment.
He never did
The
it.
problem is he doesn't even know what the Cavendish experiment is, but actually magnetism explains Cavendish scam experiment.
Listen,
You know what you guys do a lot in order to think that you've won the debate is when Umar is explaining something and he's using.
You just
no.
Focusing on one term
Don't
he's
mute
using,
him.
and that
He's
pivots away.
unreasonable. Go ahead, Dr. DeVinci.
So my problem with this whole debate with Umar is when he was explaining something, right? He'd use a term, and then you'd be like, "What's friction mean?" And then he'll start explaining that, and you'll be like, "What's that mean?" And then so it's taken away from what he was originally trying to explain, and using those terms as building blocks to his main point. And then he ends up having to defend and define positions, which were words that were used. You know what I'm saying? So it takes away from what he was actually trying to explain, and it just pivots the conversation into this semantics nonsense, which goes nowhere.
But you understand that he's
It was
making a lot of
actually
claims.
not true.
Sorry, Elijah. Go ahead.
It was actually.
that's what the
Gish
entire
Gallop.
debate is.
Listen, it was actually Gish Gallop. That's the purpose of asking. There's nothing wrong with asking someone to define terms. Nothing wrong with that, especially
Yeah,
in
but
a
you don't
debate.
even know the terms yourself, and you're asking all these specific
That's
questions.
nonsense.
But
That
then
is a
when you're
baseless
turned around and
bullshit
asked the
claim.
same question,
He didn't know them.
answer it.
He
No,
didn't
yeah,
know
but
them.
you didn't know them either.
I
So
do
why
know
are
all.
you asking
Listen,
the
that is
questions?
bullshit. Listen, I'm on the phone. I didn't have to Google nothing. Nothing.
So he was trying to explain.
I've debated this fucking 7,000 times in the last 4 years.
First of all, you guys had like 3 or 4 people switch out, but then you muted us. So how's that?
First of all, don't talk over the admin when he's talking. Jesus.
Oh, sorry, Lord Supreme Leader.
Look, you're making
Don't chop
baseless
my balls off.
accusations, right? And asking him definitions is perfectly normal. Okay.
You're gonna ask him to define like 20 words in a sentence, which he's trying to use.
Yes.
To
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
The debate culminated at the end, and there was
Saturation. We asked him to listen. He's making a claim. Mass attracts mass, right? If he doesn't know the definition of mass, what's the point? He never did the Cavendish experiment. He blatantly lied. Okay. He thought Cavendish derived G. He didn't. Okay. Mitchell did. Like 75 years later, he didn't know anything. Cavendish wasn't trying to find G. The concept of G wasn't even a fucking thing.
I just have to say that
He
you guys
doesn't
are
know what
fucking
he's talking
retarded. You
about.
got
And the thing
blown
is,
out
you don't know the
and
difference.
just
because
co-conceived.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so his last words were insults, and then he ran away. I muted him just before he could do that. So we have.
Yeah, he had to chill out. That's all. He just had to chill out, and he didn't. And then that's all. And you got, everybody talks crap at the end. That's it. Don't focus on that as the whole thing.
Look,
We have his he's back. He's back, right?
I don't care. I don't care. The bottom line is this: like, it's all of this other stuff is irrelevant. He asked how it was an experiment. I said because there's no viable hypothesis.
No viable independent variable.
What did he respond with? Yeah, huh? And then I said, well, let's get a citation. What is a hypothesis? Did he want to look into that? I was the only person trying to mute people, trying to get control of the people in the stream, trying to have a decent conversation.
Would you let him back in, right?
He's back.
Well,
yeah.
But the bottom line is, I mean, if he wants to say something is science when it isn't, how am I supposed to respond to that?
Right? He didn't even know what the IV was, or
Guys,
what was
guys,
an IV.
no piling on. It takes too much time.
If he was
Elijah,
here, he would have
did he-
smashed my TV and my phone. I mean,
Elijah,
he was going nuts.
What did he respond when you asked him what was the IV?
He said it was the constant of G or some blah blah blah.
Yeah, correct.
Well, how did he manipulate that?
That's what he asked me, and that's when crypto
Well,
came
that's
in
what I'm
and
saying.
said, "You're
How
straw
did he
man."
manipulate that?
He's welcome back, though, right?
Yeah, he's here. I mean, he was here.
Yeah.
No problems.
So check this out, right? He brought up Cavendish. He doesn't know anything about it, right? It's just a parroting what something he heard some other anti-flat earther say. He doesn't know anything about it.
I think somebody, I think CB or somebody posted what he sent. He was posting something from something. I forgot who. Let me see if I can find it.
Y'all reposted schoolforchampions.com.
Yes, School for Champions. That's what he posted. That's what he was reading.
Yeah, we also have a new guy called Q. Q, are you there? You wanted to pipe in.